So if you would, join me and stand for Donald Carter. I see there's Donald, and Charlie Morley's going to do our pledge.
Let us all bow our heads. The paths of our lives are filled with peaks and valleys. When we are on top of our peaks, we become so self-satisfied that we tend to ignore the things of importance. When we are in a valley, we feel a sense of abandon and again can focus only on what is directly ahead. Remind us, as you do in nature, that above the tree line, the mountaintops are barren, and only in the valleys can we find the opportunity for true growth. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Charlie?
Please face the symbol of our great country and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you may be seated. Thank you, gentlemen. We have one guest with us today. Bill Bancroft, if you would, please stand. Wave. He's a guest of David Booth. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Welcome. Oop, back up here. Birthdays.
Wow.
This is always a special thing. We love celebrating these because it's, if you weren't celebrating these, well, we've got some good ones here. Thomas Shanks, Shelby Abita, Howard Templin, Dana DeVance, Gary Griffith, Wanda Jones. A lot of birthdays this week. So thank you all and happy birthday. And also, just as a reminder, you get the same pitch every time. Hope you'll also think of our foundation with your birthday as well and make that donation. Our back page guy today is our very own and very special Andy Montgomery. Andrew's going to tell us a little bit about buying and selling businesses. Make up stories.
Wow, where'd everybody go?
Yeah.
Nothing to cure stage fright like a small audience. After 6.5 years as a member of this club, I'm pretty sure by now that most of you are never going to call me on the phone. But if you did, this is what you'd hear.
You've reached Murphy Business Sales. If you're wanting to sell a business, Andy's knowledge and experience can assist you in achieving a successful outcome. The process starts with a business assessment. Please leave a message to get started today.
So hopefully you heard that. That's a greeting that was created by Rob at Call Hold Marketing. I played it because it states what I do, and it demonstrates something about most of us on the back page. That is that we all have extensive resources of business contacts outside of the Rotary Club of Dallas. For example, I am confident that no matter what residential or business service you need, Dennis Conley is going to swear that he knows the best company on the planet to provide that service. I don't know how that's possible because I'm pretty sure I know the best company. The point I'm making is that you should think of the back page advertisers as a resource for getting things done. Not just a resource for a specific product or service that you see on our back page business cards. So when you need to get things done, please speak to any of us on the back page. Thank you. Couldn't have said it better myself. That is a great group. And it's an amazing resource to have within our club and what they do for us as well. So thank you very much, Andy. Today we've got a great program today. We've got an outstanding chair of the day as well. The one and only Jeff Bosky. Jeff, who is a Marine,
will always be a Marine, Semper Fi. Former president. He is also right now kind of a liaison with the Boy Scouts that we're working with in some of the middle schools. So Jeff is a great individual. We're very excited to have him as a member of our club. He joined in 2006. Who was your sponsor?
I'll get to that.
Okay, good. All right. At this time, here he is, none other than Jeff Bosky.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bigger crowd than what Don led on it to be, or Andy led on to be. Thanks for being here. Donald, thanks for that invocation. If you don't know anything about Donald, Donald is a local native. Although he ran out to California for a couple of years to get his education, he got back to Texas as quickly as he can. And thank you. It's one of the great honors of serving this club, especially as president. It's extremely humbling every week to get up here and look at these wonderful faces. The only thing that comes close to that is being able to sponsor another member. And I had the honor of sponsoring Donald into this club, who I met through some veterans volunteering that I do with some other organizations. So thanks for being here, Donald. Charlie Morley, somebody who needs probably no introduction to this club. I would bet if we had to raise a hand, several of you would raise your hands that you were sponsored by Charlie, or at least know somebody that was sponsored by Charlie. What I really enjoy about Charlie is he's a guy of action. We recently had our hunger event, feeding children everywhere, and if it wasn't for Charlie listening, he wasn't the first Rotarian to come in and tell us about hunger, but he was the first Rotarian that actually put those thoughts into action and got us started on the Stop Hunger Now program, which has morphed into feeding children everywhere. Charlie was also my sponsor into the club, so a little bit of a theme. Donald Light was able to sponsor, Charlie sponsored me. If you're not sponsoring somebody right now, go see Charlie, go see Donald, come see me. We'll be more than happy to help you find that prospective member that would like to join this club. They may not know that they're Rotarian material yet. It's up to us to introduce that concept to them. Today we've got a fantastic program. Our speaker today is Jay Cole with Community Crossroads. Jay is also a native of Dallas. However, he ran down to Austin for a couple of years to get an education at UT. Quickly came back to Dallas, where he attended SMU, got a master's degree, I believe, in divinity from Perkins School of Theology. Joined the staff at First United Methodist Church here in Dallas. Was elevated to executive director of Community Crossroads, and served the church for over 15 years, if I recall, Jay. And in 2015, Community Crossroads achieved its own 501c3 and brought Jay on full-time as the executive director. You can read more about Jay in your rotogram. I would encourage you to do so. I would also encourage you to go visit their website, take a look at this organization and why it's important for us to be able to support them. With that, I would ask you to give a large Rotary welcome to our good friend Jay Cole. Jay?
It's a pleasure to be with y'all today. I really appreciate it. The topic that I wanted to focus on was collaboration is key, and I'm going to wait for. I have a video for you, but I'll share some. You know what? If you don't mind, yeah, that'd be great, Hillary. Thank you, Hillary. It's amazing everything you do and do well. Appreciate that. Yeah, she's been fantastic to help us easily get here. You'll hear from her later, but Leanne Proctor, our volunteer engagement manager, is with me today as well. This video that you're about to see, oh, there it goes, yeah. This video was actually part of an application that I'll amplify about, but it's short and it covers a lot of territory, I think, very well. that our marketing coordinator put together for a grant called Build, which is all about partnership. So thank you, Hillary.
Of this project proposal is to enhance an existing community-based food distribution system serving Dallas County. This project will be a collaboration of community partners to improve the health and well-being of people within the low-income community in southern Dallas. The existing community-based food distribution system that this project is based on is an initiative of Crossroads Community Services called the Community Distribution Partner Program. We call it the CDP program. CDPs are organizations throughout Dallas County that pick up food from Crossroads and then distribute that food to people within their community. The CDP program is important because it allows organizations to provide food assistance to their community without having to run a full-fledged pantry. The CDP model of food distribution enables Crossroads to address food insecurity in neighborhoods where there is limited access to a variety of healthy and substantial food. At the end of 2018, there were 64 active CDPs located in 32 zip codes. The CDP network consists of local organizations, including Dallas Housing Authority sites, low-income retirement communities, places of worship, community centers, and more. Our research has shown that CDP clients are more likely to receive food assistance regularly than Crossroads in-house pantry clients. One reason for this is that CDPs are strategically located in neighborhoods where food assistance is needed, so that people in that neighborhood have convenient access to nutritious food. In 2018, clients drove an average of 15 miles to Crossroads in-house pantry, but only 3.2 miles to a local CDP. The CDP program has already proven to successfully get nutritious food to people who need it, but it has the potential to do so much more.
This is such a great opportunity for this partnership and this project. We have so many tremendous resources in Dallas County, and to bring them together, Parkland, UT Southwestern, your organization, ours, to really work together to address some of these issues and improve health comprehensively has tremendous opportunity. That's the only way we're really going to be able to solve these problems.
Food insecurity in Dallas County remains approximately 47% higher than the national average. Food insecurity, economic deprivation, and unmet health needs are particularly high in southern Dallas. This proposed project will increase access to nutritious food and affordable, quality health care in southern Dallas County. The region in which this proposal will focus. Parkland Health and Hospital System is the county safety net public health care system. 80% of Crossroads client households had adults who received health care at Parkland. Crossroads measures client height and weight, and resultant BMI data has revealed that 47.1% of clients are obese and 20.6% are morbidly obese. Crossroads clients also report high chronic disease prevalence, such as diabetes and hypertension.
One of the big health issues that we see just in general in the population, and particularly in some of the low-income populations, are chronic diseases, things like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, stroke, and nutrition plays a very important role in prevention and keeping healthy with those conditions.
Clients who visit Innovation CDPs will have access to services such as diabetes testing, STI testing and treatment, flu shots, other immunizations, and more. Dallas County Health and Human Services and Parkland will share responsibility for providing healthcare services to the CDPs. By partnering with CARE, Parkland, and DCHHS, Crossroads will be able to address many health issues that are common in low-income populations.
So I know that's an earful and headful. This work, the distributing of food at these multiple locations, the video shared that it was 64. Now, as of March of 2020, there's 107 organizations helping us. For perspective, last year it was 5.5 million pounds of food, which will be on a slide. And this year we're projecting 7.2 million pounds of food. I purposefully say projecting because that really needs to be driven by client need versus us setting an arbitrary goal and saying, by golly, we're going to distribute this much food this year. I've seen some government programs where you get a grant or they have an initiative, and I don't think that's good, where they just start funneling food or resources to families when they don't really need it. So anyway, we try to do this based on need, and we also blend compassion with data-driven decisions. I would like to stop for just a second though, because I hope this is a conversation we have ample time. Were there any questions from the video that you'd like answered? And if not, I'm happy to keep moving. Yes, sir.
Could you back up from the beginning and tell us what exactly Crossroads does?
Yes, sir. Crossroads, we have become a mini food bank. And we started, it was great when Jeff said this, we started at First United Methodist Church. We had a room that was 235 square feet where passionate volunteers would go run over to the food bank with the church van, take the seats out of it, get a pallet of food or a second pallet, bring it back to the church, make up 50 sacks of groceries, and give them out starting Monday to families that came in, and when the 50th sack was given out, we were done. So that started it back in the 80s. In 2000, started working with and speaking to collaboration, First Presbyterian Church, who has the Stew Pot Ministry for homeless, and as part of the rationale to have a continuum of care, we said we would, they had received the Otis Elevator Building over on Young Street as a donation, and that allowed them to expand the Stew Pot services so that, and gave us a chance to go from 235 square feet to 6,500 square feet, and that was fantastic for us. So we have been in the food distribution, financial assistance, life skills business since really 2001. And when I said mini food bank, in 2006, that community distribution partner network, this will help just for some metrics. So for the years at the church, like clockwork, we would distribute 33,000 pounds of food to families. And again, I don't know that I said this, in May of '01 is when we moved into the Otis Elevator Building with the Stew Pot. So through April, we had distributed like clockwork 11,000 pounds of food. We were on track to do the 33. And I'm thinking, the bottleneck is this church van and how we're getting food. And we had the money to get more food from the North Texas Food Bank. And fortunately, speaking again to collaboration, Heinz Nut Company, which was literally 3 blocks from us, said, Jay, instead of writing you a check, I'm gonna send a truck with a professional driver and a helper over to the food bank to get more food for you each week and bring it over to your new location. So at the end of 2001, instead of distributing 33,000 pounds, we distributed 100,000 pounds. And then Chris Hines, the owner, agreed to continue to help us with this, and by 2006, we were distributing 1 million pounds a year, and we had reached capacity, frankly, of the families we could see. So I was thinking, how can we leverage existing resources in the community, build relationships instead of extra buildings? And because from some previous work in my life, I knew that opening new locations and operating remotely can be a challenge, especially for a nonprofit. We started reaching out to different organizations, other nonprofits, Dallas Housing Authority, like the video said, and then it just kept growing, and the food bank said, Crossroads, we'd like for you to become a hub because you have this network of distribution partners that aren't costing any more financial resources. And so by 2015, we were at 2.7 million pounds of food, which for perspective was 5% of the food that the food bank distributed during that time, 54 million, 2.7 through Crossroads, and one organization out of 265 other organizations. So they made us a hub. And now, forwarding, we serve the southern sector of Dallas County, and they've also asked us to serve Ellis and Navarro counties. So does that pretty much answer? Yeah. Yes, sir.
So the follow-up question, how many people in the metropolitan area are receiving food assistance?
Oh, goodness. I know that there's 442,000 that Feeding America and some other organizations that work on this say are what's called food insecure, meaning they have reduced portions of meals. Some of them miss meals or don't have adequate access to nutritious food. Now, of those that are receiving assistance, I'm guessing 80%. I think that would be a pretty good guess of how many are receiving assistance. I do know of the 442,000, 100,000 are children. So last year, just for round numbers, we served roughly 27,000 people, which would be 6% of the 442, and 100,000, of the 100,000, 10,050 young people that are 17 and under. It also gives me a chance to say, I appreciate y'all's work, and I think you said Charlie Jeff was really the instigator on addressing hunger and food insecurity. Hunger and food insecurity go oftentimes hand in glove. Yes, sir.
What are you doing from an educational standpoint, and has there been any studies made on the people who are receiving the goods? Do they improve in their health statistics?
You are my buddy. Thank you for asking. Yes, sir. So there is education. We were the first organization, according to Feeding America in the United States, to create an algorithm to have people make their food selections based on the dietary guidelines for Americans. Because as the video said, there's a high incidence of obesity among people that are food insecure. So we have this, and it can initially sound like a paradox, but they're food insecure, so they don't have the without help, the resources to have balanced meals like this fantastic meal that I just enjoyed. If Matt, the chef's here, thank you, Matt, or somebody tell him. But at least we can help round out diets. So we work with research partners at UT Southwestern Medical School, University of Houston, UTD, University of Texas, Dallas, UNT. I'm probably leaving out some people, but anyway, some wonderful research partners. And we wanted to see if having rudimentary education around diabetes, hypertension, the benefits of less protein and more nutrient-dense foods, the fresh fruits and vegetables, would people's behavior change as far as their shopping, and also by giving them, using this algorithm, they get points, and then they use up their points as they see fit, and initially in each food group. We learned that there is a move to where low-income folks all are making healthier choices, especially when they have those options available. And we did cooking demonstrations. We would have speakers come out, and the simplest things of doing what they do at Whole Foods or Central Market or Costco or Sam's for that matter, we would have volunteers, nutritionists come in, and when we had an item, I'm going to go off on one anecdote, we had edamame come in. Well, nobody knew what to do with edamame, and we had fresh beets, just a lot of fresh beets. And ironically had yogurt. Well, they come in and start making up this salad with the yogurt, the beets, the vibrant color there, and then our food manager at the time said, how are we going to move this edamame? The next thing they do, and they got the little cups in the waiting room, just like, again, I almost didn't connect the dot there. And we're passing out these little cups. And then they sprinkled in some edamame for that vibrant color against the beets. And I'm telling you what, the edamame moved and the beets started moving, so that was cool. That was fun. And it was also incredibly rewarding to see that folks like it. They just needed exposure. So that's what we're trying to do. Now, what I love about your question too We just received a $500,000 grant because of a study where, I want to make sure I remember your question. You said what to change behavior. Here's an interesting statistic. We learned that when people come to our pantry and get their food, roughly the same time they get their SNAP benefits, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, when they do that, they self-report a third fewer bad health outcomes than people that wait 3.5 weeks to get food from a pantry. Now, why is that? Now I'm going to blend another thought. I'm hitting you with a fire hose here. When I was talking about the coexisting food insecurity and obesity, the pattern that people normally do is they will spend their money. If they are getting SNAP, they go through their SNAP benefits, and then they wait till the cupboard's bare. I actually said this to a group the other day, and I realized most of them were under 30 and were like, what's cupboard bare? But anyway, so, true story. They wait till the last minute, so now their diet isn't balanced anymore, and they're also doing their best to satiate, to feel full, to alleviate hunger. And what alleviates hunger? Foods that are high in salt, sugar, and fat. What we call comfort food, and we frankly love, and the cheesecake was delicious. So when people come to our pantry first, or any pantry, and get the groceries that we have, and we give substantial amounts of food. Another thing that we help the food bank teach other agencies is give substantial amounts of food to fewer families, serve fewer people well. On average, the food's worth $2 a pound at the grocery store. On average, families of four at Crossroads will leave with over 100 pounds of food. On average, recently, a family of four's income is running $1,800 a month. Having $200 of food, discretionary income freed up, can make the difference. We normally don't see people until the water pump broke on the car, or there was an asthma medication that was $300 that Parkland Assist did not cover with, or something like that. So,
you got lots of time.
yeah, okay, thank you. Yes, sir. The money, the food is not only medicine, it's not only nutritious, it's also freeing up household dollars. So back to the SNAP pilot, when they come to us, they already know what's in their kitchen, in their pantry. Come to us, leave with 100 pounds of food, round that into your diet, and then go to the grocery store and fill in as you can. And another hidden metric is, and this is, I don't believe it's a fault of the stores, SNAP benefits are distributed the first 2 weeks of the month. Prices for food during the first 2 weeks of the month are higher for the items that are on the SNAP rolls. They reduce them in the last 2 weeks, knowing that most people run out of SNAP. And I think that sounds, I made that sound draconian. Let me try it this way. My hunch is the rationale is they drop the prices the second 2 weeks because they're not moving as much, and so it's. I don't think they're trying to gouge people. I prefer to think that the business owners are seeing a drop, so they drop the price. Just good old supply and demand, simplistic economics. But that's an interesting dynamic. So if we can help them use their SNAP benefit later in the month and start rounding out when they're running out of food, that's part of what we think's going on. So people, as I said, wait for 3 weeks. Somebody be bold and tell me, why do folks wait till the bitter end before they come in?
Pride.
Jeff said pride. This has worked for 14 months with Dr. Stephanie Swales. We did focus groups and surveys and interviews with clients over, like I say, a 14-month period. She's with UT Southwestern. The number one reason that people said they did not come in for food, and this, I've told this story so many times and it still gets me a little bit, is they say that they know there are other people that deserve the food more than they do. That was the number one reason. The second reason was they don't want to be seen as those people on the dole or working the system, or why should, it is a pride thing, Jeff, but that was the number one reason. Yes, sir.
What percentage of the people that you serve only come for assistance 1 or 2 or 3 times?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to get to that one. I'll make a point to remember that. So in this SNAP study, we're hoping that we can nudge people's behavior, because when you say you're not coming because you think other people deserve it or don't want to be seen, that's an emotional decision. Can we nudge them to break that cycle and come within 48 hours of receiving their SNAP benefits? And this is a randomized control study. This is the real deal. And so we'll see if we can change that behavior. So I just wanted to finish that thought. Now, as far as when people come, on average, people come to our pantry 4 times a year. And so, and usually that's not once a quarter. It's when I said about the water pump breaking, or the asthma medication, or another common one during the summer, electric bill gets out of control. They will come in, so they get behind, they're already on a razor thin budget. This extra expense hits, they need some help. They come in 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 months, and we may not see them again for 1, 2 years. Now, we do have people that come every month. They're primarily seniors. Here's another interesting metric. What would you guess of the people that come 1 time a year or up to 12 times a year, because we see people once a month? What percentage would you say comes 10, 11, or 12 times a year?
20.
I heard 20%.
5%.
5. Oh, 5. Well, y'all are good. So many times I get 50, 60, 70%. It's less than 12%. Less than 12% come that often. Now, here's another interesting thing. That deserve level and the feeling that they shouldn't be here unless they absolutely have to. Our community distribution partners in the video shared that there are, let me back up. Those partners are tasked with finding the people that are in chronic need, repetitive need of food every month. They are tasked with finding those micro pockets of food insecurity. And for some sites, it's as small as 40 households a month they serve. Our biggest site, they have grown from 12 families 5 years ago to serving 400 and something, over 1,000 people a month. It's amazing. But when people sign up, and the way that works, because they don't become a full-fledged pantry, they place an order, they come to us, and I'm just gonna, let's say it's site number 33, and on the 3rd Thursday of the month, they're gonna see people at 3 o'clock, and they're gonna see 90 households. Those people know to be there at 3 o'clock because their food's gonna be there. They come to us maybe at 11 that morning, maybe 8 or 10. They get the food, they get it all set up, the people come, and it's done. And that's what started this a while back when we were seeing, I don't think I ever finished that thought, but when I said let's build relationships instead of more buildings, it's like when we get them doing that, it's the same as, let me back up again. Because of the space we were in, we could never serve well more than 70-something families a day. We were just tapped out. And then it wasn't long before we're serving 600, 800, 1,000 families a day because we're working with all these partners. And it was much easier to send out trucks of food versus individual orders. So, did I answer that? Or as far as how people come? So when they know they have an appointment, it raises their deserve level. And there's also, I'm not gonna say psychological, but our partners at UT Southwestern come out and coach the people at these sites to say, tell people, hey, glad you came in. This is, hope you come back next week. And it does trip them up when if 20 families don't show up, they're kind of a waste. So that doesn't help. Yes, sir.
Sorry to be the one.
No, you did. I love it.
Questions.
I'd rather have a conversation.
We tell him we can't get him to stop.
They usually put a 3-question limit on me. So, okay, so the economy on the national figures have generally looked pretty good, maybe
Yes, sir.
this last week. Unemployment's at a historical low, and so one would assume that you would be having less business, or is your,
Well,
if I could phrase it that way.
No, I'm so glad you brought that up. We are having much more business because we moved to this new location. I don't know that I really made that clear. We moved out of a downtown location with 6,500 square feet, and I probably, if Hillary's around, or maybe I have a slideshow that'll help illustrate this, but thank you. The punchline is, we're now in a new location, the food bank, which I love to brag on the food bank at this point and say,
The purpose of this
what a wonderful endorsement that they entrusted us with their previous building at 4500 South Cockrell Hill, that's a 72,000 square foot footprint. Our operations folks just feel like they died and went to heaven, because before they were on the second floor of an office building doing over 2 million pounds of food.
There, right here, clicker right there.
Ah, thank you.
Right on the right side.
Yes, sir, thank you so much. So I already mentioned those figures to you. One thing I didn't mention, 7.2 million pounds of food, that will on average produce, it gives families the ability to prepare 6 million meals. Last year, 5.5 million, so that was 4.6. And again, $2 a pound, that's freeing up $11 million. That's actually a typo, that should be $11 million. And then that'll be over $14 million. That's real money, as we discussed. Here's the new location. We tried to take some pictures of the old, it was small rooms and it just doesn't really come across. That was the facility when the food bank moved out. They helped us put in this wonderful new pantry. I'm telling you, I'm still giddy. I can't get over it. We are so grateful to the food bank. It's amazing. Again, we're on the second floor. 2 summers ago, and there's a service elevator, not a freight elevator. The elevator goes out for 6 weeks, and we're schlepping food down through the stairwells no, it was amazing. It's unbelievable. And we could never stack. We could Jeff and I are fairly tall in our freezer because it was built in the garage. You have to walk around like this. You couldn't stand up if you were over 5'10". And now we've got drive-in freezers and docks, and Pinocchio turned into a real boy, so it's cool. This is our intake area. All this work we're doing with research partners. Here's another metric I'll throw out there. Food insecure people, they report having depressive symptoms, dealing with depression, anxiety. 7 out of 10 food insecure people. The average population, 2 out of 10. That's 3.5 times more. So yeah, 72,000 square feet is just fantastic. That video, and there's on average how many people are being served a month, at least in 2019, it'll be more in 2020. It gives us the ability to have these new partnerships. I already mentioned the 107 that we're working with. Catholic Charities, now we have a facility where they serve 14 sites in our service area. So now, and they were driving up to Plano to get the food, and we're like, this doesn't make any sense. And we've got this huge, wonderful facility with a fantastic parking lot. Now they park their Southern mobile van at our place, get their food, they're loaded in 20 minutes, whereas before it was taking them 4 hours. So this is a great collaboration. V&A, who I love their work, Meals on Wheels, I'm betting many of you have either volunteered with them or you certainly know them, probably had them speak. They're doing God's work. It's a small amount here, but this is supplemental groceries in addition to the Meals on Wheels. And I'm going to say this for Leanne so she can say a few things here. I've only hit the tip of the iceberg, but now imagine this. So we're working with the partners. We're trying to help people deal with diabetes, depression, anxiety, hypertension, a myriad of wellness issues. So that video, I just love the idea that a person could go to a site and get an immunization. They could also have a telehealth experience with a Parkland doctor. Dallas County Health and Human Services in Parkland, we're gonna pilot having some food at those locations. Redbird Mall is about to have 150,000, you're nodding your head, Donnie knows, 150,000 square feet for a UT Southwestern, 50,000 square feet for Parkland. And we're working with we have a Salesforce-based CRM, customer relation management tool, software, platform, that right now people pick their groceries on a computer. The next step will be they're gonna pick them in our waiting room on their on a tablet. And then once we do that, they could be over at Parkland, and the work we've been doing for 3 years with Parkland is Food is Medicine and UT Southwestern, so that they've seen the clinic over there. They place an order. We have the order filled. It's like 2.6 miles from Redbird Mall over to our new location. They get their groceries and they're gone. And so that's where we're trying to go. Leanne, would you tell them about the opportunities that we have as far as if you're comfortable? Only if you're.
Okay.
And we'll wrap it up here. I'll get them all up there for you.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for having us. This is such a treat, and
You have to use the mic, please.
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
Leave the mic.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having us. It's such a treat to be here, and so appreciative of everything you do as volunteers and with your association with the Rotary Club. Jay was talking about all this work we do, and all that work couldn't be done without volunteers. We're completely volunteer driven, and we have many opportunities, especially now that we have this huge space. At Young Street, they were very fortunate, and we still have a number of those volunteers that were part of the First United Methodist Church. And so they, stuck with the program, and they were there loyally. But when we moved over to Cockrell Hill, a lot of those volunteers did not want to drive out there, didn't want to get on the highway, not that I blame them. And so we lost almost 2/3 of our volunteers. And so it's just been recently that we're kind of getting up to par, but just to give you an idea, we need 34 volunteers per day to run the pantry. We usually have maybe 10, 12, 15. So anytime we get a big group, that's a wonderful help for us. And so I would encourage you to, talk to your friends, talk to your churches, talk to your business colleagues about volunteering for Crossroads. And also as a group, we do a number of big groups. We have AT&T is coming on Friday. There's 150 volunteers coming, and they would love to do, community service days. So we're open to that and available to do that. Yes, sir.
What's the minimum age? We have a lot of students do some of that.
Yes, that's a good question. So we will take, unless they're in diapers, I think we're okay.
We've got a fewer kids.
Yeah, that's true. It goes the other way. If you're 14 and under, they can volunteer, but they must have a parent with them or an adult with them.
Okay, 14's the magic.
Yeah, 14, and after that, they can come on their own. So.
We have groups, and this would be a good project.
Yes, it would be great, and we have, actually, right now we have TWU at Crossroads. We have the University of Memphis came, so everyone's on their spring break, a lot of groups come for that. Yes, sir.
Is this a 7-day-a-week operation? Is it, when do the volunteers show up?
So we have pantry Monday through Thursday. On Monday, we have pantry at 12:30 to 3:30. So our shifts normally for volunteers are 2.5, 3 hours. And you can do the AM pantry or the PM pantry. Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, We have pantry starting 8:30 to 11:30, and then pantry again at 12:30 to 3:30. So just to give you an idea that this number that, Jay was talking about how many people we serve and what a difference it's made to be over in this location. When we don't have enough volunteers, we can't serve as many people, just because of the fact that we've gotten to grown so much, and we've done not that much marketing in that area, and it's just doubles almost every month the number of people that come to the food pantry. So in March, I think it was 2018, when you were still at Young Street, they did 90 households, 90 families. On the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, we did 90 families at Crossroads. So that just gives you an idea of how many, what the numbers look like every day. So it's always increasing the numbers. Our clients are, they become our family. There's such a wonderful partnership between our volunteers and the work we do, and it's very much about immediate impact and outcome based. So you're very rewarded when you go, and I think that brings a lot of people and keeps a lot of volunteers with us. So I hope if you have any questions, feel free there's some information out there, and we'd love to have you. Yes, sir.
You answered my question. I know how to get a hold of you now.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll wrap it up, and I realize, thank you, Leanne, you helped me trigger that a gentleman somewhere back asked a question that I didn't fully answer about the economy. Because of the move, we are seeing so many more people. When we were down here at Young Street and first started, there wasn't any other pantries around us. 4 years ago, I think it may have been 5 now, time gets away from me, City Square opened up their Opportunity Center that was literally 1 mile from us, and it had ample free parking where we were. The city kept putting up meters where people come to our pantry, always paid a meter. Now we're in this new location where there hadn't been a pantry of this caliber ever. And so it's such a different demographic. I will tell you this, I left my notes over there, but I remember this pretty well. Food insecurity is actually down from 2011. The economy has been doing markedly better for low-income people since about 2015. When I say markedly, I don't mean dramatic differences, but people's incomes have actually been rising. So we're seeing more people because of the desirability and new location of our space more than people are in dire straits. Now, are there still people that are living below the poverty line in Dallas? Yes. And for perspective, a family of 4 poverty line is $26,400 by the 2020 poverty guidelines. That's not a whole lot of money. And incomes are up. I think I already said this, but they're up a little bit, and people are working more. So no, we give thanks for the economy, and I will tell you, most of the people we see are working, and they are thankful to have steadier employment right now. So we're swinging the bat. We're trying to do this in a data-driven way. We love having, again, collaboration partnerships. I was remiss not to say thank you, First Presbyterian Church in the Stew Pot, for hosting us for so many years down there. What I didn't tell you is the food bank, that 72,000 square foot facility, they are charging us a whopping $1 a year for that space. The Presbys did the same thing. We're lucky, and we try to be good stewards of the money that comes in. Last year was 1.3, we got it done, all in expenses, I'm talking about every expense, $1.3 million to then provide for the community with the help of the food bank, the distribution partners, etc. $11 million is pretty darn good leverage on the dollar. We're proud of that metric, and we're proud of the metric of 5.5 million pounds on that. So probably a good place to wrap it up. Thank you, Rotary. Oh, one other last thing. I'm sorry, I keep thinking, and that is, I love your 4 principles, and I love it that you have a commitment to the common good. Thank you.
behalf of the Rotary Club, you're building a great history and a great future. I want to share with you our history. This is our Centennial book, and wish you the best of luck. Continue. Thank you very much.
Okay, next week we've got good programs, and I'm disappointed for those. Hopefully you're watching on Facebook. We've got some really good ones. Next week we've got Jerry Hawkins' Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation, a Kellogg Foundation initiative. So that should be a very interesting program. We've also got coming up third Thursday, happy hour. This is going to be at, I can never say this, Lee Cave. How you say it? Caveau. Okay. Well, I'm from Louisiana. What do you expect? There were an X in there. I could get that. It just needed an X. Okay. But let me tell you, if you didn't come to this event last year, this is a lot of fun. They're both members of this club. JJ and her husband Styria, I believe is his first name. It is a fun event. There will be wine tasting. There will be cheese and other things. So do come. Mark your calendar. It's a lot of fun. We've also got District Assembly. A number of you have signed up. I've encouraged, both Jim and I have encouraged board members, present and future. This is a great event to learn more about Rotary. Come attend. I'll pay for it. I've got it in my budget. So sign up and let me know. We'll cover you. We want you to go to this. We've also got, and I'll touch on this one later, there's following the district assembly, there's a district conference. That's at the end of April. Unfortunately, that's on the same time as Bike Rodeo. But there's a chance that may be rescheduled or even canceled. You know, because we're also having to look at, with considerations of the COVID-19, what we might do. So I think, you know, the possibility for us is we could continue through the Facebook streaming or do something along those lines. So you just have to pay attention and stay tuned in. Cigar Caucus. There it is. Speak about the exit. Steve, come on down.
David, why don't you come with?
Yeah.
Support?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's scared.
Good afternoon. Before I talk about the Cigar Caucus, what a wonderful calling you've got, both of you, and God bless you both. I looked down on this individuals, and there's my wife as a contributor, and I didn't even know it. Isn't that something? If you have not been to the Cigar Caucus, I won't ask you to raise your hand, but before you break up, turn to somebody sitting next to you and go, if you don't know about it, what is that? And I would strongly volunteer you to come. It's an outreach program, at least in my mind, to come and enjoy a different venue of the Dallas Rotary Club. And it gives you a chance to meet folks one-on-one that you might not have a chance to meet and talk to and get to know by rushing in here, having lunch, hearing fabulous speakers, and then leaving. Our format is real open. Thanks to Miles, we get to meet out at the White Rock Boat Club, which is fantastic. And David Vilbig, who will be up here next, said that he might come all the way from up in Sherman if I promise not to talk to him. So there may be something interesting. Please look at your calendars and try to support us on this, because it's a wonderful opportunity for you. And I'm being pushed out, obviously.
David drives in from southern Oklahoma, so hold on. Okay. Hold on. One of the other things we've got is at the end of the month, our fourth Wednesday here, March 25th, we're going to have the Dallas Rotary Foundation luncheon. The meeting is dedicated to our foundation. It's going to be at Royal Oaks Country Club. Royal Oaks Country Club, not here. Royal Oaks. If you come here, enjoy the view, okay? Because you'll be by yourself. Well, there's always a couple of you, so, and you know who you are, and you can share that with each other. So, March 25th. So make a note of that. So, and I'd also, speaking of the foundation, is the Rotary Foundation. You know, speaking of how we leverage our dollars, I would encourage you as well to make your donations to the Rotary RI Foundation. That's very important because that comes back to us and what we get for our grants and what we do in Ghana with both the medical and with the water. You talk about leveraging your money, that's another great way for us to do that. So I encourage you, make your donations to RI. Also coming up, District Foundation Gala, March 28th. We have a table. The theme for the gala this year is we're still fighting polio. There's still 2 countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan, we still have polio. We're still battling that. We want to see that go away in our lifetime. So plan on that. We have a table. We have 10 spots. If you'd like to come, let Hillary know. Well, I like the Joe Burrow up there. I'm sorry, I'll just go back to that in a minute. But anyway, it's a Roaring 20s casino event. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, all the money they raised is for polio. Yeah, wait a minute, back up now. Let me get out of the way.
Get out of the way. I know this will be shocking to some of you, but I am the chairman of the Bike Rodeo Project. I know. God help you. And Ashley called me right before this meeting, and the Scottish Rite Hospital has canceled all non-essential events up till April 30th because of their patients' care and all that kind of stuff. So the Bike Rodeo's been canceled. All the planning meetings that are coming up have been canceled. We will regroup. We will figure out if we can do it in May before school's out. For those who know about the event, it's very tied to DISD and the kids that come. It may be we'll do it next fall. Ashley is beside herself, as you can imagine, with all the excitement she's having. So anyway, but the Bike Rodeo at this moment has been canceled. Sorry for the bad news.
Very disappointing. But again, we had a great program today. And we'll look at doing a project, doing an outing. If you've never been volunteered at a food pantry, it's a unique experience. One of my previous banks was really big because they needed all the help they could get. So they put us out in the community every chance they could to kind of give themselves a better name. But it's a great experience to go do that. What you see is the impact firsthand, what it does for people. And what Jay shared with us today, people, and it's interesting, you don't think about that people think about there's people who need it worse than I do. And that's interesting, we just don't think about people thinking that way. We tend to go, they could do better, but they can't. So, and I think they're onto something here. Maybe we all can learn something from this. So it's a great program today. So with that, it's your favorite time of the meeting. If you would, please stand and join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
is it the truth?
Second,
is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
will it build friendships?
Fourth,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And last but not least, it's fun. Everybody have a great week. Thank you.
Always good to see.